Welcome. I'm Janet Richmond, and this is the Higher Self Voice. Well, hi, everyone. It's Janet, and I'm excited about today's show. I thank you all for tuning in, whether it's live or in one of the or you're listening to one of the archive shows. Anyway, this and every show, as you probably know by now, is archived on my website, janetrichmond.com, and you can download them as a podcast or you can listen to them right on the computer. It's up to you. And I also have a lot of other shows from prior years on my podcast where I go into a lot of information, a lot of topics, a lot of stuff from the higher self information that I have access to. And I encourage you to listen to the archive shows starting back in the beginning of 2011. The shows start and they really explain in pretty much detail about the nature of thought and how we create the lives we have, that we manifest on a day-to-day basis. And also each show has a healing in it. And even though it's a generic healing, so to speak, or a healing that I do in general, it absolutely is as powerful as one that I would do specifically for you. And I get feedback and information from people who I've never met, who I've never done a personal healing with, who's literally just listened to these archive shows, and occasionally I get an email that says, well, guess what? You may not know me, but I know you really well, and I've been listening to your shows and doing your healings, and oh my gosh, my life has changed. And then they start to list how they've changed. So I encourage everyone, again, to listen to those shows. This show that I just started now almost a month ago, this is my fourth show. Yay, it's been a month under my belt. This is a process show. This is a show where I give healings for people in the moment. It can be a live caller. It can be someone who's emailed me because they're at work and they can't call in live, but they have an issue, and I can do the healing for you right on the show. Whether you're here, whether you're listening, it makes no difference. And so I want to give that number for those of you, the phone number for those of you who could call in, 646-668-8565. Again, it's 646-668-8565. And if you want to write me or send me an email, please do so to janet@janetrichmond.com. Very easy, and I will do your healing on the show at some point and would let you know that I did it so you would know to download the archive show or listen to the archive show. Anyway, the last week I didn't have a live caller. So what I did was I did a healing on someone named Shasta. She's actually a friend that I work with. And she called in the first show to be supportive of me. Thank you so much, Shasta. And she asked to get a healing. Now, I work with her often, so I do in general know her issues. But she gave me an issue we had never worked on, and I did a healing right on the air. And I got an email from her almost right away after the show giving me feedback. And so I'm going to discuss in a little bit, I'm going to discuss her issue, what the healing was in general, and then what her reaction, what her response was, so that you can see really clearly that you absolutely can send me an email. You can have me do it, whether you're listening or not. You can absolutely get the healing, and it's as effective as if you call in. So I want to encourage those people who can't call in live. I know the time isn't great, but since this show is broadcast worldwide, it's a great time for some people out there. So hopefully some people are listening live, and I encourage all of those to call in. Again, it's 646-668-8565. Anyway, I am still new at this, so please bear with me. Last week I had so many techno difficulties. I was kind of frazzled through the whole thing. Luckily, the healing still worked well and everything was fine. But just if you can bear with me, I'm not the consummate professional that maybe I would like to be at some point, but I do, of course, I do the best I can. Anyway, what I'm doing for you on this show is, again, it's a process show where I'm actually wanting to do healings for people and give them like a jump start to changing a life. I was so fortunate to discover a very important piece or very important information about how to change our lives. And it is that information that works so beautifully for me, absolutely so beautifully for me, that I, not only did I dive in, but I've gained a lot of experience. And then now I'm here to share it with you all. And guess what? We have some callers. This is so exciting. So let me, instead of keeping going with all of this, I'm going to put the caller whose phone number, area code is 720, and I'm going to put you on. Hello?
Okay. Hello?
Hello?
Hi.
Who is this?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me okay?
Yes. Let me take my charger off so I can talk to you. How are you doing today?
I'm fine. What's your name?
My name is Diane, and I just happened to come upon your show, and I think it was meant for me to have a reading today and a healing. I definitely need a healing.
Wonderful.
I'm a veteran, and I have gone through so much, and I have just been blessed, whereas in the past, everything's just going my way now, and I just need some extra push to get me into a nice relationship, to find a man that I belong with. I'm ready now.
Okay, so you said you were a veteran. Did you serve, in an active combat or anything like that, or?
No, I was post-Vietnam. So I was in around 1979 to 82.
Okay.
So I just missed it. Yes.
So you don't feel the veteran situation is affecting you so much now, or you were just giving me a handle of who you are kind of thing?
Yeah, yes, I'm proud of it. When I tell people who I am, I'm also a home organizer. I guess I'm used to selling myself when I talk to my clients.
I see. Well, I'm glad. I appreciate it. It does give me a sense of you, and I'm proud of it for you also. And
thank you very much.
And so now you're really looking to bring in a good relationship. Is that correct? Okay.
That is.
Okay, well, we can definitely work on it. Now, since you're brand new and you just happen to tune in, let me explain that my viewpoint is I come from the viewpoint of the soul. I don't really predict the future, so I won't be most likely.
Oh, I understand that.
Okay.
Oh,
and
you are so blessed, and I would love your gift if you would do your magic on me and just put it out there in the universe.
Okay. Well, I will. I will do a healing, and I'll also do an empowerment for you as well. So the healing would be on anything that you might carry that would either draw in a relationship that isn't so great or might actually hold a relationship at bay. Sometimes we can do that even though we don't mean to and we don't consciously want that. So I'll just see what I get, and we'll go from there, okay?
That's wonderful. Please proceed.
Okay. Well, just follow along then. The kind of healing I do requires some focused attention, the focused thought. So it is a conscious healing, And so I'm going to direct you. You don't know how to do it. I will explain as I go. And I can hear a feedback. Can you turn your radio down, or are you there?
Yeah, I'll turn my volume. Is that better?
Yeah, that's definitely better, because I was hearing some feedback, and some of the other listeners might have an issue with that. Might be disruptive or something. So thank you very much. All right, now, so just follow along and, follow my words, and don't worry if you don't feel anything. Just do the focusing and you'll be fine, okay?
Okay, I'm sitting down. My feet are on the floor.
Okay, sounds good. All right. Now, I encourage you to close your eyes, simply because it enables us to focus when the eyes are closed, a little bit easier than when the eyes are open. In time, you'll get so good at it that you can do it with your eyes open. But in the beginning, it's probably a good idea. Now, we're not going into any kind of alpha state or anything like that, just totally conscious focus, okay?
All right.
All right, so make yourself comfortable. And the first thing that I want you to do, Diane, is, before I go on, please excuse me, I want to encourage all the listeners to sit back and follow along as well, because we all have relationship issues. And whatever I pick up for Diane, chances are we all have it in some fashion. We've lived so many lives. We've had so many different experiences, so many different relationships, that the elements, there's so many common elements for all of us. So I'm going to encourage everyone to follow along and do this healing as well. Even though I'm going to be focused specifically on Diane, I want to encourage all the listeners to do it as well. Okay. So now, Diane, I want you to relax, take a deep breath, and I'm just going to do all the talking. So if you have questions, you can go ahead and wait till the end, or if you're confused or anything, just go ahead and wait till the end. But right now, I want you to just listen to my voice and focus on your body. I want to bring you and I and all the listeners into what I call the now moment. And to do that, we begin simply by focusing on the body, simply because it brings the mind's eye in to focus right here, where we are, what we're doing. So I want you to notice the position of your arms and your legs, your feet and your hands. I want you to notice even the contact points between you and the floor and the chair. And in this way, pull that mind in, and you and I are doing the same thing as all the listeners, and we are simply going to focus right here in the now. Now, this now moment is a very powerful place to be in. It allows us access to deeper levels of healing, and I want us to expand that moment. So it's not just a little moment where we might symbolically see it as just being right around us. We're going to expand this now moment out. It's going to become bigger and bigger. You can see it as a column expanding, or a ball, a sphere expanding, bigger than you, bigger than the room, bigger than the place where you live. And this now moment is giving us all the time we need and all the freedom from the projections of our minds into the future worries or the past regrets or whatever we might be thinking or feeling by moving into the past or the future. So we are standing right in this now moment. And in this place, I'm asking that we all, and you specifically, Diane, focus on what I call the pure soul essence. That pure soul essence, you can visualize it as a spark of light or a flame of a candle within, or as a sun, which is a symbol that I really like to use because it gives it. The sun is such a powerful thing in our reality that using it as a symbol is perfect, because that's the kind of power our pure soul essence has. The pure soul essence is the part that every soul, from the lowliest grain of sand to the highest, most evolved being, carries. And it is a piece of the originating source of all there is. It is all that originating source was, is, and is becoming. It carries that very divine, expanded, perfected, pure light of healing and insight and understanding and energy, balance and harmony and love, and everything that the originating source was. It is our purest and most perfect and most potent point of power. It is what is going to do the healing work for us today. Now, I want you to focus on this pure soul essence and watch it permeate or feel it or just imagine it moving in through and around the totality of your physical body. It's just permeating every cell, every organ, every part, every bone, muscle, everything of that physical body, and it is bringing its perfection and purity to all of that. And I want you to see it as it expands into our etheric bodies. The etheric bodies are very powerful parts of our beingness. Our beingness doesn't end at the skin. We carry these energetic fields around us that are a big part of what and who we are. And those energetic fields are now being permeated by the pure soul essence that we are. This pure soul essence is divine energy. By focusing on it, we are, in fact, giving it permission to move into our life pattern here in the free will kingdom. The divine energies cannot trespass. We have to invite them in. We have to give them permission. And that is exactly what we are doing. Until we do that, they are sitting, this pure soul essence is sitting untapped, unused as potential help, as potential energy. It's as if we have the biggest computer sitting on our desk that is updated 24/7 and is the most powerful computer in the world. If we didn't open it up and turn it on and ask it a question, it's only potential help. And that's exactly what this pure soul essence is. And by focusing on this powerful light, we are all expanding it. This light is intensifying, growing, permeating the totality of our beingness and growing beyond our beingness and becoming so large that you and I, Diane, our lights and the lights of all the listeners, both the live listeners and the archive listeners, are touching and joining in one accord. We, in this way, become a giant array of light around the planet. This is a very powerful healing for not only us as individuals, but we provide light for souls that wish to partake of it, especially those souls that are unaware they carry their own pure soul essence light. And I'm talking about souls from the mineral, plant, and animal kingdom, as well as others in humanities. And we are both those in body and those who've laid aside the body. This light is very powerful. It's a very wonderful thing just to do this part for ourselves and for others. I also now ask that we all amalgamate or become one with the totality of our higher selves. Our higher selves are the more expanded aspects of ourself, more expanded part of ourself at the soul level. Without explaining it fully, I ask that we each and every one of us amalgamate with this very highly high-frequency energy. It also carries the divine nature, and therefore I'm asking that you all be aware that by focusing on the amalgamation is also the way to invite your own higher selves in. The last part of the amalgamation is the becoming one with, or amalgamating with the originating source itself. We are always connected to the originating source. There's a eternal thread that connects us 24/7, whether we're in body or out. And by focusing on the amalgamation with the originating source, we are in essence opening up and expanding that thread. We are opening the we are enlarging the opening or the connection that we have with the originating source, and we are inviting it in to bring all its endless resources to us, and in so doing we guarantee that we're going to heal at the very highest level that we can, that the energies we bring in are the ones we can handle at the very highest frequency that we can handle at this moment in time. Tomorrow or next week, we can handle something. After the healing we do today, we'll be able to handle energies the next time we amalgamate at a higher level, and those are the energies we will get. We always want to be working and guaranteeing that we are working at that highest level. Okay. So as we sit here in the center of this amalgamated state, having given permission for these energies, I am now going to ask that you and I, Diane, focus on you, although all the listeners can focus on themselves and work on the same issue. And right now, I'm looking at you in relationship to the relationship request that you wish to bring in a relationship. And I see what I would call like a symbolic figure of a relationship that you could or would bring in. And that figure isn't as energetic as I would like it to be. It is your projection, in essence, symbolically, of a relationship. And I see it is, it's not fully formed. There's some, I don't know how to, I don't have the perfect words, but what I want you to do is I want you to begin, okay, just give me a moment or two here. Okay. I'm getting a very, I'm getting a feeling that the place we need to start first in order for this relationship to become more fully enriched and fully energized, I feel as if we need to do some work on your relationship with yourself. Now, I don't want you to feel like I'm in any way being critical here. It is not a question of criticism or judgment ever, but what I'm sensing or picking up is that there are issues which we all have. We've been through a sojourn of so many lifetimes, and even this life, we've had so many events, circumstances, relationships with others that we have hurts and wounds. We have belief systems that have grown up over eons of time that affect the relationships that we have with ourselves and with others. And what I see with you so clearly is this really beautiful heart. There is really a genuine heart, but you've carried into this lifetime some of the pains and the wounds that affect, your lifetime with yourself. So I want you just to begin. Remember, I'm glad.
I have been in the same lifetime with the same man for 3 years. I have been with this man for over 25 years, and he's a narcissist, and I didn't know it, and I've been abused, and in my prior lifetimes with him, it was the same thing. I've had readings before, so I feel I really need a deep cleansing, and I don't take it as an insult at all. So please go ahead.
All right, great. People. Okay, well, great, because that's what's coming up for me, and
I want to bring in the love of my lifetime.
Yeah, you have.
I want to bring in the love of my lifetime, yes, and I need to be healed in order to come to me.
Healing really so often begins with ourselves, because if we're not fully connected and fully loving ourselves, what we do is we draw in a kind of a mirror image of a guy who won't fully connect, who won't fully love us. Probably the guy himself can't fully connect to himself and to his own self-love. And I'm not talking about narcissistic love. I'm talking about true self. So what I want to do is I want you to just begin by, we're going to put the symbol of the guy over sort of to the left, and I want you to begin by seeing a big, like, holding tank in front of you of light. It's just a big orb or something to that effect. And it is, as you let go of the things that I'm going to call out for you, the things that I'm seeing in there, I want you to just allow all the energy to come out of your physical and your etheric bodies, and it's going to be dark energy. You may sense it or see it or feel it as being either black or smoky or muddy or globby or oily or yucky in some way, shape, or form. Don't worry about it. That's what it usually looks like. Sometimes I've seen stuff that looks so putrid, it's almost gangrenous looking, you know. So don't worry, just allow it, just allow it to go into this orb, and the orb is just going to hold it. It's like a holding tank, and it can grow. It's an energetic orb, so it'll grow as big as it needs to go, depending on how much you let out. So as I say these things, I want you to just focus on the releasing, focus on letting everything go into the orb. And I'm just going to begin with the lack of self-love. There's some shame here. There's some deep sense of just, you don't have to respond. It's better for me if I can just focus, you know, so just follow my words and just allow me to talk. You know, I'm a big talker when it comes to this kind of stuff.
And I'm a big meditator, so I'm breathing well, so I'm listening.
Okay, so just go ahead and go with the flow. And I want to just say that there's just so much hurt behind all this lack of self-love. There's been a part of you that has taken on over so many lifetimes that you're not good enough, that you are worthless, that you are unlovable, you are you're not worthy.
I'm lovable.
I want you to just allow that to flow out, all that belief systems that you've taken on all this time. And I want you can if you can't feel it coming out, you can open a symbolic door like a hatch to a submarine that's in front of the heart, and just allow that stuff to shoot out into that orb. Just go with the flow. Just allow it to come out, because underneath that is, boy, there is so much pain, there is so much sorrow, there is so much grief, there is so much despair. Will you ever have love in your life? And it's not just love of a significant other. There's all sorts of love issues here. You've had difficult lives with difficult parents. You've had lives with difficult siblings. You've had friends that have hurt you and betrayed you. There's been a lot of real pain and suffering. Now, of course, there's been a lot good, but when in these healings, I'm picking up the negative stuff that is affecting you. So that's what's coming up, and I don't want you just to, or anyone to assume that none of us have ever had anything good. It's just that the focus on my healing is to focus on the part that's so painful and so difficult, or that holds us stuck. And so I want you to release all those lives. There have been a lot of lives where you felt like a victim, and you felt like a victim not because you... It's simply because you didn't have the higher viewpoints and the understandings. If you just look at this planet, and you've been on many planets, if you just look at this planet, you will know how limited the thought processes were in the olden days. Look at the Middle Ages, the Dark Ages, the Ice Ages. I mean, look at so much of man's sojourn here on this planet. It was more about territory and procreation, just putting food in the mouth and keeping safe from the predators, that there was no real understanding at any kind of deeper level. So if something happened to you, and happened to all of us, we so often would feel like a victim, blame someone else, or blame ourselves. And I want you now to release that whole victim pattern, that whole blame thing. It is permanent, it permeates most of all of our etheric bodies, because the limited conditions that we've lived in, it's not been like we have now, where there's so many higher viewpoints out there, so much more understanding about human nature. We move much more quickly into the arena of understanding someone else than judging someone else. But we've lived through so many judgments, and some of these judgments have been absolutely denigrating to you. You've been judged as inferior. You've been judged as even stupid. You've been judged as inept, incompetent, all of those things. But there is an element that you carry that I would call, it's almost like an inner warrior. There's a part of you that just refuses to give up on yourself. And so that is part of why I think you're seeking and searching in this way. It's because you, at some level, you know better. You know there is more to you than the beliefs you've carried, that what people have told you, whether it's told you in this life and you're conscious of it, or told you in other lives. You have this inner part of you that is determined to, it's enough already. And so I want you to continue. Oh my gosh, it's just a lot of hurt. There's a lot of shame there. You've been shamed really terribly, and you've taken on that shame. Oh, it just hurts me for you. But you really have this inner strength. And right now, I'm going to call in, before we finish, I'm going to call in the divine courage and divine insight and divine understanding and divine healing and divine love and divine forgiveness to help empower and help you with this release, because it is very painful. You've carried this for a long time, but you are ready to let go of it. And I'm now going to also call on something I call the divine flush energy. It's simply a cocktail, so to speak, of energy, of the divine energies, and for each person it would be different. And it's going to help flush out some of these really old, some of these really dense, some of these really stuck belief systems that you've had. And it's so painful. I can feel it in the chest area for you. And there's just a lot of grief and a lot of sorrow. You've had many lives of unrequited love on many different levels. You also, this is interesting, interesting but not surprising, you've also taken on a lot of self-defense mechanisms. It's like at some point you also wanted to protect yourself. So there are times where you literally wouldn't be vulnerable, wouldn't allow yourself to give of yourself to others because it was so painful. So you didn't know that you could trust somebody else to give back to you. And it's just so painful. Just let all that go. Let it go. You can cry. You can do whatever you want. Just allow it to come out. You can stream it out of the eyes, out of the heart, out of the stomach, out of the root, the sexual chakra, any area, out the whole body even, out the top of your head. There is just a lot here that I want to help you let go of. And you're doing a great job. This inner warrior, this inner determination it's as if it's a relief. It's almost as if, thank you. You're so thankful that you finally are able to do this. And you yourself are doing it. I am not doing it for you. You simply brought in the trigger. I'm just triggering off for you or helping you begin that release process. But I couldn't do anything if at the soul level you didn't want to. You want to, and I want you to absolutely let it go, let it come out, let it flow. And I do feel now some sense of relief, finally. Wow, it was just so big. And that orb that you're letting it go is so big I literally can't see the edges. I can't see it, but that's okay. I don't need to see it. But you have let a lot go. And as a matter of fact, I feel as if you almost feel claustrophobic because you don't like it, you don't want it, and it's feeling like it's surrounding you. And so what I'm going to do now is we're going to have your light. I want you to picture that sunlight you carry within, that beautiful light. It's already been extended past you, but I want you to visualize that light pulsing out of you, pulsing all around, whether you can see the edges or not, pulsing from the outside in and neutralizing all that dark energy, literally changing the nature. We can't get rid of the energy, but we can change the nature of that energy. We can make it neutral. And when it's neutral, it becomes anything it touches. So it's going to become your beautiful light. It is going to empower your light. It's only going to, so you're helping yourself on two levels. One, neutralizing, and then two, empowering your own light. And that's what it does for all of us. So I want you, and I see you. Finally, I can see the edges. You're doing a great job. This actually happens fairly quickly. Divine light is incredibly powerful. It's much more powerful than the energetic thought energy and emotional energy that we've let into this orb. And it's pulsating in and it's neutralizing as it goes. And the orb now is getting much smaller and much smaller and much smaller. It's not completely gone yet. But let's just keep doing it. I want to get to the point where it's gone. And I'm adding my light to help yours. And it's done. Now, we're not done yet because I now want to bring back the guy, the image of the guy. And I do see him more lifelike, more energetic. It's as if the potential and the probabilities of the guy coming in and being the right guy have gained energy because you've released a lot of the energy that was holding it back. I do want you to understand, since you're new to my work, that this is step number one. It isn't the magic bullet. When we come in with eons of lifetimes, we go down by layers. So I encourage you to either listen to my radio shows on my website.
Yes, I will.
I have over 90 shows, I think, now, and the early ones, starting in early of 2011, really give you the understanding of what exactly I'm doing. Whether you understand it or not, it's still happening. Yes. I do work on people who can't speak English, and it works for them. So I do encourage you. I mean,
I definitely will. I would definitely educate myself, and through going along with your shows, I'm sure you have a lot of techniques and people that you do healing for, and I can listen in the audience, and that will help me, right? But I just wanted to tell you that everything that you said was right on, all about me.
Well, I'm glad.
And I feel that everyone
could relate to. Sometimes people can't. So I do mention that, sometimes that happens. Most of the time people do resonate, but not always. It depends, because sometimes we can pull up something so old. Even I've done it for myself, and I'm like, what? What are you talking about, higher selves, Because they're the ones that direct me to these healings. They're the ones that give me the threads, what I need to tune in. It's your higher self telling me where to go on you. And sometimes it's something, that you just you're not aware of and you don't know. So anyway,
I am curious to I'm definitely going to watch your shows, and I'm curious as to how you attained your gift and at what age and all about you, because you definitely have a beautiful gift, and thank you. I'm so glad that synchronicity.
Well, I thank you. And honestly, if you can, anybody can get the gift if I got it. And if you look on my website, there is some history on me. I do have a book, and there's some more history on me in the book. And I have a second book that's not out yet. It's done, but it's, still in process of trying to figure out how to get it out. But, also you can email me, Diane, anytime, Janet@janetrichmond.com. You can ask me any questions. Also, I'm just curious, where is zip code 720? Where are you calling from?
I'm in Denver, Colorado.
Oh, wonderful.
Have you ever been out here?
Yes, I have, a long time ago. And I'd love to have you email me, just so I have your email address, too, if you wouldn't mind.
I definitely am going to. Would you repeat your address again, please?
Sure. It's Janet, and that's just Janet, at Janet Richmond, RICHMOND.com. JanetRichmond.com.
Oh, JanetRichmond.com. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I definitely want to touch base with you and let you know how things are going. And I'm truly blessed today to have connected with you. I know this is just going to be the beginning of what I need to do for myself. But like I said, I dipped my foot in the pond, and I got it wet, and I need to get all wet. I need to get everything done. And if you're consistent,
Diane, really, if you're consistent, you'll be, excuse me for interrupting, but I just want to assure you that if you do it, it will shift your life. Every healing is permanent. You can't go backward from there. So each layer you remove is one more step forward. And even though there'll be times where you think you're going backward, but it's only a perspective, false perspective based on, all of our stuff, But, I just encourage you, because if you are consistent with it, your life will be different in 6 months to a year, completely different in all the better ways. It can never get worse. It's only improved, These are divine energies.
I'm sorry, Janet. It could only improve what I was blessed with so far. I have come a whole different realm, spiritually, finding out about my soul's purpose and life here. And it's so precious, and people just really need to open their eyes to what's really important. It's not the material things. It's the relationships and love, giving yourself unconsciously. And thank you for giving of yourself today and your gifts to me. And I definitely will be in touch with you, Janet. I hope you have a wonderful day.
Thank you so much. And I'm going to put you on mute now because I do have another caller.
Awesome.
Okay.
I'll be listening. I'm going to start from beginning and go through all your shows. I promise this is something I'm going to do I listen to Blog Talk almost every night, so your show is going to be number one priority for me to listen to at night. So
nice.
God bless you.
Nice. God bless you, too. And I'll hopefully hear from you, and we'll be in touch.
Awesome, Janet. Thank you.
Okay. You're welcome. Thank you, Diane.
Great one.
Love you, too. Okay. So I do have another caller. So the caller ending in 9482, I'm putting you on the mic. Hello.
Hi, Janet. This is Judy. I'm calling from Pasadena.
Oh, Judy, hi.
Hi. How are you?
I do want them to know that I do know you, and you had mentioned you were going to call in, so great.
That was wonderful. That was such a wonderful healing. That was really, really good.
Did you work on it, too, for yourself?
I did. And I think everybody, that's just something that applies to everyone as well, So I did. I thought it was great.
Oh, good. And I'm just going to, because you know the work and you do it yourself and you come to some of my meetup groups and things, I would like you to just share with the listeners just for a little bit that when you come to the meetups and I'm doing healings on other people, that you go along with it for yourself, and does it help you? Do you feel helped?
I always feel so much better afterwards. I feel much clearer and lighter. I always have such a great feeling after a healing, and it's
even when somebody else is being healed, when somebody else. Oh, okay. I just want you to share that with the listeners so that they know that I'm not just speaking words, that it's real.
No. I've been doing this for a couple years, and I've had a lot of I think I could probably call them small miracles where things are, just things come to fruition that I didn't believe were possible, and the work has been really, really, really valuable. I can't imagine not having it.
I can't imagine not having you part of the group either. Because, every time I do a healing for someone else or other people, I get the benefit too, because every time we amalgamate, every time we move into that wonderful space, that in itself is healing. Every time we call in those divine energies and become one with them, that in itself is a healing process. So if we did nothing else, sometimes I'm so busy in my day, I just walk around and amalgamate off and on all through the day because I've got too much, I don't have time to do any neutralizing. But just that amalgamating, it brings you into a state of centeredness, calm, brings you into a state of inviting in those divine energies to work for you and with you, and they can never do any harm. I was starting to say that with Diane, but you know that, don't you, Judy?
Yes, I do. I don't know how your time is right now, because that was a good healing. I
know. Why don't you tell me your issue, and then I can work on it next week. Sort of the way I did with Shasta, and then I can share with the listeners for the rest of the time how Shasta replied to the healing. You want to do that?
Yeah.
So what was your issue?
Yeah. It's still kind of really finding my purpose and related to scarcity versus prosperity. Kind of worried about finances and not having enough to pay for things, and just kind of that sort of barely making it. I think probably a lot of people have the same issue today. And maybe it just, I don't know if it comes to not making enough use of my gifts in the way that they should be used. Everybody says that if you do what you love, you'll find the greatest reward, and I still seem to be kind of blocked when it comes to that. I've tried to just focus on the here and now and focus on my kids and taking care of them and the things they need, and I still haven't found that clear what I want to do, and that the excitement of finding your purpose.
Okay. Well, first of all, the whole financial thing is huge, and I think that would be great for me to do a major healing next week on that for you, because I think all the listeners, or most, would have issues, especially because finances are really a microcosm or a common way that lack of material balance in general manifests. But lack of material balance is much bigger than finances. So even if I have some listeners whose issues may be, say, a physical illness and may not have the financial situation, even that, those listeners would benefit from the healing. So I think it's a good idea to have me wait till next week. And the other thing I would like to say is we all hear things, we read things, we get things on Facebook about shoulds and shouldn'ts, what we have to do. In order to be successful, you need to find your passion, is what you kind of were saying, right? And as long as we find our passion, we'll be able to manifest. Well, I just caution you and all the listeners to use some to try to stand in the center between belief and disbelief, because sometimes those shoulds or shouldn'ts or those very beautiful sounding words of wisdom can actually become problematic in the sense if we fully lock into the belief that we have to be passionate in order to be successful, or we have to find our destiny in order to, find our passion or whatever, then we start finding ourselves falling short, and we start saying, well, what's my problem? Why can't I do it? I'm, where am I not good enough? That kind of self-doubt and self-questioning. And in addition, any belief system that we carry is a limiter. So maybe your passion will evolve and move down a pathway where it comes last, not first. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know. It's sort of like having that one true love, or taking a relationship and making it amazing is what you're saying, right? Like,
well,
you know how some do.
Sometimes we pass on, and a lot of people do this, what they've learned from their journey. That's what I do. That's what everybody does who's in this kind of self-help arena. But understand that we are so unique, each and every person. We all have our own journey. So our pathway may not match somebody else's, and vice versa. So if we carry too much of the shoulds and shouldn'ts and the always and necessaries and musts, the people we're saying things to can take it in and not realizing that their journey is completely different. I go from A, B, C, D and end up at M, and somebody else might start at Z and work their way to M that way. And so anything in my journey that I say is must or shoulds, maybe the other person is going to take and say, oh, gee, I'm not doing that. What am I doing wrong? And so I'm only encouraging everyone, when you hear these kind and wise and beautiful words or anything, and including mine, that we don't lock into them, that anything that we lock into becomes a limiter, becomes a cap, and it can become a way that we criticize ourselves or feel something, we're lacking in some way because we're not doing it. So I'm being very general, and maybe I'm not making too much sense, but do you understand?
No, you're making perfect sense. I know exactly what you mean.
Okay.
Yeah, that we're all different pieces of a puzzle, and everybody has a different shape.
Yeah. So when I go in to do your healing next week on the radio, and I know you can't call in next week, but you'll hear it after the fact, I'm sure.
I'll listen to it on Wednesday night.
Okay.
And then I'll let you know how it, how it went. Yeah.
All right, terrific. Well, thank you.
Thank you so much.
You can keep listening if you want. I just want to briefly do the Shasta thing because I said that I would, and so I want to read everyone.
Can I also say that if anybody is living in the North Hollywood or in the Valley area, they should try to go to one of your meetups, because is it okay for me to say that? It's such an amazing experience, and
myself? Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, what is the date? What's the date of your next one?
It's April 8th. It's the second Tuesday of the month usually. And
April 8th.
It's April 8th, and I have one every month. And you can come even if you aren't in the Valley area, if you have the time or the ability to get over. I've had people come as far away as Valencia and Ventura. Certainly people from LA come over the hills sometimes. It's harder. So, there's no pressure ever. But I thank you, Judy. Yeah, I do these healings in the meetups too. But because you're in a group, there's a lot of discussion. You get the benefit of everybody's mini healing, and there can be discussion, and we get feedback, and it's great. I hope you do.
It's never the same. It's never the same. It's always different, and it's always really, really interesting and enlightening. So I would really recommend anyone try it.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much. And I look forward to seeing you on the 8th. And I'll probably go ahead now and put you on mute because I'm running out of time. It's less than 5 minutes.
Bye, Janet.
But thank
Lots of
you
love.
so much for calling in. Lots of love to you, too, always.
Okay.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
Okay, guys. I'm going to be brief here, but Shasta called in on the very first show, but I already had a caller, and it was the very same thing as with Judy today. There wasn't enough time, so she gave me her issue. And what her issue was that she wanted to have a better feeling of safety around people and a better ability to trust how she feels about someone or a situation. In other words, she wanted to trust her own voice and to even notice when it was telling her something and not to dismiss it out of hand simply because she doesn't trust herself. So I did a healing online or on the show, and I don't remember so much of it, but she does talk about it a little bit, and she sent me an email very soon after the show, and I wanted to read it to all of you because I want you to see that someone doesn't have to be online and get the benefit. She did end up listening to it, but you'll see what she says. She says, okay, at 10:20, was able to pull up Blog Talk, but I couldn't find you. Finally, I gave up and went to a link where on a website page, and I had a link there, and so she went straight to the program. But by that time, it was 10:36, and I'd already started a healing. So it didn't seem helpful to call in, and then she heard her name. So she said, I just listened and went into the healing, and I wanted to write you right away and share with you how powerful the visuals you had were. They totally hit home, and I felt some real healing happen out of it. That vault thing where I'd hidden my voice and sense of trusting felt so accurate. And what the vault thing was is that I felt she carried inside her in that energetic field like this heavy-duty vault, like a bomb shelter or one of those bank vaults with walls so thick, and in there was her inner voice. And she just held it in there because she was afraid to let it out. And I don't remember, it was kind of complex and there were some different parts to it, but she said, the vault thing where I'd hidden my voice and sense of trusting myself felt so accurate. And when you said I was afraid to feel fearless, that so hit home because I felt that I should not allow my strengths to surface or even awareness that they were strengths. And that meant to her that she couldn't develop them and wouldn't develop them if she wouldn't let them out in any way. So she said she understood it in context with her family, and that if she'd let the strengths out, she wouldn't fit in emotionally with the family because they needed to put her down. And she went along with what they wanted and how sort of the unconscious automatic ways we do as a child, because if she were any different, she would be put down by them and she wouldn't feel loved by them and they would hurt her. So the vault was hitting home, she said, because it was like that part of me didn't go away, but it was separated from me. Her awareness was separated from her, so she could fit into the family dynamic. So she does say some more, but anyway, I just wanted you guys to know that she could relate to it. And she was actually listening in person, so it's not quite the same as it will be when Judy listens after the fact. But trust me, it's absolutely the same. I'm getting the same information. We're in the now moment, and Judy going to feel it too. Anyway, I want to thank all the listeners. I have less than a minute to go, and I want to remind everyone about my website, JanetRichmond.com, and also to email me, please, guys, because I'm still new. I don't have a lot of callers. I'm so thankful to all the listeners and to Diane for calling in, and Judy and Shasta and Robin, all the people who called in so far. I thank and appreciate, and I know the other listeners that are getting the healings at the same time or after the fact during the archive shows are also very appreciative to all of those who have reached out. and I'd love to hear from all of you, and I thank everyone for working with me and giving me a chance to get this information out. So I thank you, and until next week.
Thank you for listening to Janet Richmond and the Higher Self Voice. Visit Janet's website at janetrichmond.com to view all of her upcoming events or to buy her book, Choices: Neutralizing Your Negative Thoughts and Emotional Blueprints.